there everybody, and welcome to the second roundup of the Music City Journal. And here it is. It's the bunny hopper season here. It's going towards Easter now, and it's the bunnies that are up and running. But unfortunately, they have to go to a whole lot of coal spills at this time in this season right in here. And how do we kind of looking at this whole thing? It has not really changed too much since our last weather update. And here's a little quick view what Easter bunnies have to deal with at this time, at this moment in this season. And this is so hard to believe. Yes, we're going in noontime. It's almost approaching here 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we have it right now 40 degrees. It's nothing in rain in the forecast here, at least as of right now. How does this whole thing here plays out? Today at March the 17th, we're hopefully getting into a high of 42 degrees, a low of 34, and then slowly but surely finally warming up. Last night we still had a little freezing rain hitting us up in here. Pretty much the last strength, the last show-off out of this whole winter season. And if everything goes well, everybody can see this probably slightly how this whole thing plays out. We're warming up again just a little bit, so we're just going again to the beginning and the middle of next week, just probably going down again, but not as bad as what we could have been. But how does this actually now play out to our other famous neighbors, as I have them already here programmed out for you? And this is, everything goes well, taking a look at hometowns right now. Mannheim striking in 55 degrees. This is now, of course, towards the evening hours. And they're looking almost quite similar, except for some reason they never really got what we call a winter time for some reason, sticking most likely pretty much during the same time as what we've seen in it right now. Pretty warm weather, so to speak. You know, 60s and sometimes mid-50s here. And this is playing out pretty much the same way, almost like sister towns in Nashville. Unfortunately here, of course, this says Mannheim, Germany. And they're supposed to be, either way you're looking at it, much, much colder. Above the season, most definitely. So they had a couple of, bad winters, so to speak, the last couple of years, so maybe time for a little warm-up. But now you want to get it normally real cold. And if we recently remember, I had another count for us, Yakutsk. They're now most likely towards the morning hours of the next day, nighttime in the middle of it. And it's getting warmer, -8, sarcastically, so to speak. And they're still dealing it. Now this time, remember, last time we had this in, this was all minus temperature, minus in front of something like this. Now this is really getting into 22 degrees, 27 degrees, 29 degrees, still snows of course, but we're not above freezing. But this is the kind of town that is almost equal to states like Nashville, Tennessee, capital-wise, but it's one of the coldest places in the world. So we're talking about normally having -27, -30, even up to -40, if you recently remember one of our previous weather shows. And it seems to be, if you're looking at us right over here, they're going really into a hard warming season right over here. Again, we're starting this out a little bit late here, of course, March 17th, so it's just about right for those guys. Maybe by the next month, they're probably just going to be equal with us. So let's see how this whole thing progresses. And of course, here, a nice little look back again at our temperatures over here. 40 degrees as they are playing out as of right now. And how this whole thing comes to looking as of course into Nashville, Tennessee. We're looking at the live shot right now, going into the North Tower, the North look, and there is still just not really too much of sunshine in the making. We have been pretty much looking into this whole situation like this, with a bunch of cloudy skies and weather not quite motivating. We had of course a couple of days ago an amazing 70 degrees, I believe, 2 days ago, so it showed us a little sunshine. But if you really want to get to see some sun, you have to really go high into the sky. This is the downtown. Go and look into the north. We'll have another look over here from the Vanderbilt section. This is from West End into downtown, and this again confirms the cloudy position as we're going through right over here. And when you want to see where this whole thing comes from, this is the look to the south. And we're seeing right over there, cloudy, and the sun tries to make it really way back there in the distance, if you can see this, but it's just not quite really going into this whole situation as it is. Still cold, and God knows what is going on with this whole situation, but this does not keep people from going into certain events. And here, of course, the biggest thing the past weekend, we had one of the all-timers, world-renowned, world star, what can we say? Billy Joel was in Nashville, Tennessee, at the Bridgestone Arena. He loaded the thing up completely, of course, sold out. What else can we expect in this whole situation? He really rocked the whole thing. Of course, with his age now being 64 years old, you know, the critics saying right over here, as it looks like he still was holding his ground pretty steady. Made some interesting remarks about a guy named Ted Nugent, about here off and on using a little voice spray and them kind of things. But fans were quite happy with this whole thing. 2 good hours of show and entertainment that kept the downtown area quite busy, and I happened to be there at the same time working around there, so I know there was something really going on. And even Billy Joel, if you look up on his website, was personally looking forward to this kind of situation here, as he inside this concert in the event actually remembered being in places like off Nashville, long time ago, late 70s, playing in places like Exit Inn. Yeah, famous Exit Inn. Who would ever thought about it? Brought people up like Billy Joel. And you know, when we're talking about downtown events, it seems to be getting much more better, much more exciting, because now the Nashville Sound's breaking ground finally into the downtown stages now. And if we're getting a little bit lucky here, besides some pop-ups, there it is finally, we get to see a little picture of how this whole thing plays out. Of course, the new stadium is not built yet, and it looks like we're going to have to wait until probably the spring of 2015, which is just about a year away. So in 1 year, we get to see all the stuff here taking place. So if we're looking up to the left, we still, of course, got real close right behind it, or right next to it, the Bicentennial Mall, the big farmers market. Of course, their cash registers are sharpened up, and they're already up and running, and they're practicing the big money income to take place. And here we got the Municipal Auditorium. That's also, of course, a big sports arena. If somebody, of course, remembers the rollers, the roller team, I think the Nashville Roller Girls, they have a big sports event going on. And if you want to take it further down, right here behind it, where you can barely not really see it too much, we got the Bridgestone Arena, again, which also happens to be home of the Nashville Predators. We're taking this whole thing away, not visible right now, over the bridge. And of course, then we got the Titan Stadium here. So it seems what it seems, and it is what it is. And Nashville goes from Music City to Sports City here. And of course, this will take a quite interesting return event, because at one point in time we did have the league, which was hosting up its little ballpark quite close in this area here. And it was going until probably until the late 1960s, from what we understand, when for some crazy reason they demolished the stadium here, ballpark stadium, which was pretty close, situated in this neighborhood right over here. And if you're looking back, ever since 1978, the Nashville Sounds, of course named after, you can imagine, the city, excuse me, the city's name as it is, will return with a new home right over here. The costs don't seem to be overall not really too bad when you're looking about the fact of between 40 to 16 million, which goes into this whole development right over here. I'm pretty sure they're making up all that money back right over here. So, excuse me, speaking of some little cough up, maybe some wine should help, and therefore there's some great news too. Unfortunately, this will still take a while for it to take place. Now, while they're building up a stadium here and all this kind of stuff in 1 year to come, this bill, which is now finally to go into effect, we're talking about this Thursday around 11 a.m. If somebody wants to keep it up and for the history books to come, Governor Bill Haslam will sign this whole puppy into effect, which means the wine bill, finally wine can be sold in grocery stores. Oh yes, and it's unfortunately not really happened until July 2016. That's what I'm talking about. I guess it's going to be going through several stages. What is really, really interesting to see, you may not really, after all, expect wine to find in that many places as you expected it to see, because the store must have a retail floor of at least 1,200 square feet. So your average kind of a community store, which has your little beer and other consumptions ready for you, and here a pack of cigarettes, probably won't be able to put their, the wine into place. So it is what it is. It has to be put in some bigger grocery stores with a more place, more room, a more sales floor to accompany this whole thing. And what's really getting interesting right now, those license fees, if you just get a little bit closer right over here, the state is really wrapping it up right here. For example, payment of a $400 application fee and an $850 annual license fee has to be applied with it. So I know there's money to make in both sides here, so I guess it creates happy campers on both sides of the aisle right here. So when we're looking at the fact it's taking place, and I know Nashville, Tennessee is not anymore belonging to Nashville's alone. If we remember, of course, we have people coming up from all over the places, as this whole neighborhood is steaming and beaming out of its ground. It's growing really by the minute, with hotels taking place and in events. Unfortunately, even though we're looking with cloudy skies again here from downtown into West End kind of looks. it is definitely a case that you will have more and more people coming up from all over the states. Like, you know, for example, California is taking in people from Los Angeles, New York, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, Chicago, definitely, Detroit. All these people, of course, and in most cases, they're already all used to seeing all this stuff in their grocery stores and in their places and all this kind of good stuff. So, of course, this will have an interesting impact on us. So, it's unfortunately still taking a little time for us to take place, 2016. So, let's see how this whole thing plays out. And here was a quick update for everybody here on the latest on the monthly updates. In here we see how this whole thing plays out. Nashville as it is, with kind of gray skies, but we're hoping late but coming by next month on the next replay of the Music City Journal right here, that will have maybe some sunnier skies to go with. We're expecting probably more rain to coming up in here. And you can see actually our Cumberland River is really holding on to its stages. I've been monitoring this baby here quite close. As we of course remember, not too long in recent years ago, 2 and 3 years, we went quite over hoop into this area, then into this area. So downtown once, not too long ago, was flooded. So it can still quite happen again here and there a little bit with too much rain taking place, and all those other crazy things that will probably come with it. But right now we're just getting just so much rain that we can just really hold on to it. Maybe there's a way for us to ship it in all those other drier parts of the country. That would be of course nice. So somebody maybe might come up with this idea. I may not be the only kind of guy that's been thinking about this kind of stuff. And speaking about which, one over here, we got some terminals over here. A lot of that kind of stuff also belongs to some, you know, gas wholesalers, distributors, terminals, that kind of stuff. Our gas prices, by the way, are still hanging in nicely but bravely, around $3 anywhere between around, you know, if you get it low, you had been $2.95. If you get a little high, $3.30. That's around in our neighborhood, so to speak. Here again, a nice look on the Vanderbilt area from West End and over the cloudy skies, right as we say it right there. Either way, everybody here, if I make it again before the time is up, then we'll probably might have us a couple other guys here coming up, you know, some kind of Easter bunnies holding on tight. And either way, I hope I see you again soon at the next month issue of the Music City Journal. You all stay safe, behave, enjoy, and have yourself a good one. Don't forget to drop us a note